Abigail here with another candle wax reading. This reading is divine messages around your career. This is a reading for messages from spirit around your career, next steps, what might be best for you, any advice spirit has for you when it comes to questions around your career. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an energy check-in to see if this is the reading for you, and then we will start the wax reading. So let's get into what group of people does this apply to? Who is this reading for? It is around career choices and what to do next. Let's see what the cards have to say. Queen of Pentacles. This is for people with a plan. Yeah, this is for people who are self-starters. This is for people who specifically are not happy in the job that they're doing, that are not feeling aligned with their work, who also, this is especially for people if you like, yeah, Nine of Cups. If you feel like your boss is not as smart as you, or if you're always constantly working under people who just do not feel aligned, who tell you what to do, who like, you feel like someone who's constantly oppressed by micromanagers, you are incredibly capable, you're emotionally fluent, you are good with people. And so this reading is for people who are feeling really stagnant when it comes to their career and are really hoping that the future brings more alignment, more connection, more ability for them to like invest in themselves and like create a beautiful life for themselves, and also a career that makes you happy and brings you fulfillment. You are not someone who's like, oh, I can go to a 9 to 5 and then go live my life on my hobbies. You're like, no, I need to enjoy my job. I need to like have like pleasure in the work that I do, and I need to feel joy in whatever I do. And you don't have, oh, 10 of Cups. Yes, yes. You're also someone with big dreams. You have big plans for yourself. And maybe right now you can't see what those plans are. Oh, yes. Judgment, 4 of Wands. Oh, you also meet a lot of past life connections at work or like in whatever job you do. This isn't necessarily for a specific kind of work. You can be self-employed, you can work for someone, but it definitely feels as though this is a group who's looking ahead. You've already put maybe some stuff in place, or you're preparing to put stuff in place to change things, and it feels like you want reassurance that everything's going to be okay, which is what this reading is for. So if you have hopes and dreams, plans and goals, if you want more than you have currently and you're dissatisfied with what's going on, whether it's your own business or working for someone else or trying to find a new job, this is the reading for you. You are a dreamer, you are a believer, you are someone who knows there is more for you in this world than what you already have. All right, if this is you, stick around and I am going to get the water set up and I will meet you back at the wax reading. And we're back, guys, with the water all ready and prepared. We have this multicolored candle here. I thought it would really suit this theme of abundance and change within career. I may not use the whole candle because this is a pretty big guy, but we will see. Anyways, I'm going to get this lit up and we're going to get into a reading about divine messages when it comes to your career and the path ahead. Let me just light it up. Get my handy dandy extra long toothpick and let's get into it. What does Spirit have to say about career? Also, I've never used one of these color changing candles, so we'll see if it's fun. My ADHD brain is like, seek interest. It's burning fairly slowly. We'll see. This also is a sign that whatever is coming, whatever information here has been a long time coming. You've been waiting. Oh, we've got like a little baby here. Some of you definitely want to start your own business, or in the very least want to have some kind of like say over something, because it definitely feels like a lot of the stuff you work on are like hypothetically your baby, like the projects you work on, the effort you put in so much effort and so much love and care into your work that you're like, I really deserve to have it pay off more. I really deserve to like get to reap the full benefits, because otherwise, what's the point? We also have another figure here. It's kind of like running off. I think some of you are ready to go. You're like, I am out the door. I do not want to participate in this energy anymore. I don't want to be at someone else's beck and call. I think some of you are very close to quitting or at least giving up if you like own your own business. And the universe is saying you don't need to give up, but we do need to change direction. We do need to focus on something else, something different. Oh, I love how rich this red wax is. Um, yeah, you deserve to have your passion and your drive honored. It also feels like the next steps aren't simply like a one and done. There is a path here. It is up to you to know where you are on this path, but the universe has been moving you forward, whether you're aware of it or not. Also, that's a question mark. A lot of you are questioning your choices and wondering if this is the job for you, and I think that's an answer in and of itself. Um, I think if you're asking if it's the job for you, it's probably not. Now, if this is your own business, then we need to find a different way of like doing the business. It feels like either hiring someone else or switching to a different format or changing up the schedule is required. Um, candle burns interestingly. Um, and also, if you notice this, it's like scattered. It feels like your life is very kind of like, I don't know, portioned off. Like your work is not really connected to like your home life, and your friendships are not connected to work. It feels like you don't have a lot of work friendships here. Not necessarily a bad thing to have things in different containers, but it does feel exhausting for you to like be a different person at work, be a different person in your personal life, be a different person with your friends. You're someone who wears a lot of masks, I'm hearing. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's definitely a mechanism you've created to protect yourself, but it is getting exhausting. And the message from spirit I'm hearing is like, you deserve to be all of you all of the time. And this restlessness you feel at work is kind of a bigger theme than just your career. It's also in your personal life and in the relationships you have, and if those even feel aligned. It also feels that some of the reason you're still at work is because you have people who are reliant on you or you feel trapped. But I'm hearing that you're all like the job you're already in or the work you're already doing is already so dicey, is already on such a knife's edge. Like you shifting to a different job or you seeking out a different kind of work or employment is not going to make it any more unstable than it already is. Like it feels stable because you've been in it for a minute, but it's not really that stable. And I know those who are self employed are nodding their heads furiously because you already know that. But if you work for a company, this is definitely specifically targeted towards you. Let's see what we have going on here. It's just the way this candle is burning, it just feels like you are so drained. Look at that flame and how like exhausted it feels. I can even just feel in my body there's such a massive, I'm disabled and I have chronic illness, and so I also have something called Ehlers-Danlos, which means I'm always in pain and stressed. But I'm feeling so much more tightness than I normally feel right now doing this reading. Um, you were so incredibly stressed. You were so incredibly done. And what I'm hearing from the universe is now is the time to make your exit plan. Now is the time to come up with solutions. We also have a little lamb here. You are just a little lamb. You don't need to be dealing with all of this, especially if it's outside of your pay range. A lot of you, if you're working for someone else, are not getting paid enough, and your guides are not pleased. They're like, not our child. We won't let them do this. Why are you doing this to yourself? It also feels really hearing very strongly. Some of the reason you guys haven't experienced success yet is because your ancestors and guides are blocking you because they're like, this is not it. They're like, this path is not the path that you were destined for. This job is not the job for you, or at least the way you're doing it is not meant for you. Um, yeah, just you see how scattered this is? It also feels as though some of you are very much like on the path to trying to find an exit, and your brain is just everywhere. You're like, I could do this, I could do that. And the universe is saying, take the path. If you look, there's another little path showing up. Take the path of least resistance. Take the path that brings you most joy. take the path that is most aligned to you, even if it feels foolish, because we live in a world that is foolish, that is ridiculous, where things are not guaranteed. And so pursuing happiness is pretty much all there is. We also have another figure here kind of sitting and pondering. They're also saying, take yourself out. Take yourself out to a coffee shop, take a notebook, take your laptop, come up with a plan. Come up with like what your ideal situation would be. Also, we're getting to a little spot of yellow in this color changing candle. And it's like, start planning your escape, start having dreams. This is also a part of manifestation. Also, I'm seeing a trophy. You are going to win once you take this into your own hands, once you start believing that things are possible, once you start moving towards what you actually want. I think some of you actually want quite the opposite of what you have. And what I'm hearing from your ancestors is like, there's nothing wrong with wanting something different. And if that something different is less, find a way to move things around. And also, I think at the end of the day, the benefits to you accommodating and loving yourself and loving what you do are going to far outweigh the negatives in this situation. Also, smoke, this kind of smokestack going up. You are so burnt out. I'm getting this image of like black smoke and like a black coal run engine. And I don't know if you've ever read the book The Little Engine That Could. There's like a really old fashioned old engine that shows up who is just so exhausted looking. And that's what I'm being given. Like, you're so tired. You are not going to last doing what you're doing right now, anyways. So we got to give up. We got to move on, and not give up and like, oh no, I failed, but like, as in like, stop pushing yourself. And also, if you have to stay in this job for longer and that's just how it is, because maybe you have a family, maybe this is just your circumstances, stop giving them so much. Literally, one of the biggest crime, like the highest level of thievery, at least in the US, is wage theft. They are probably actively stealing from you. Um, do not give so much unless there is an incentive that is actually equal to what you are doing. Um, Also, I'm getting a message for people who are doing their own business. There is a better way to do this. There are different paths you can take. There are different people you can connect to. Um, I'm hearing don't forget your community. Like, you're a small business, ask for community support. Ask for people to share your stuff. Ask for people to help you out. And this goes for people who are in more of like a 9 to 5 as well. Like, if you're looking for a job, ask for references, ask for recommendations. If there's a certification that would help you get something better, take that certification. Do the thing. We have another question mark. A lot of you are just in the beginning phase of being like, oh, this really sucks. And yeah, it does. And I love this because if you notice, the question mark is kind of closing itself off here, and you are going to have an answer soon. But I really think that image I had of you in a coffee shop with like a notebook, with planning, with strategizing, with figuring some stuff out, I think that's where all of you need to start, regardless of what kind of job that you have. Some of you I'm hearing you're physically exhausted. This is not surprising. I'm disabled. It's not a shock that some of you might also be disabled or coming to terms that you were just not built for certain kinds of physical exertion or certain hours. You know, your mental health is incredibly important, and it is a reaction to very real triggers. Being exhausted by the world we live in is not, oh, being weak or not having enough stamina or something you can fix. The world is intentionally exhausting so that you never fight back, so that you never change your destiny. And what I'm hearing here across the board for all of you, regardless of the type of work that you do, look at this poor exhausted flame, what type of work that you do, but you can change your destiny. You can change the life that you feel you have been given and manifest something else. May it take a couple of years? Yes. But you do not have to stay where you are unhappy, where you are unsupported, where you are unappreciated. So many of you, just if you remember your tarot, are so gifted and so magical, and you're wasting your sweetness on desert air. Also, this image of like a fairly strongly featured person with beautiful hair. Um, some of you are so exhausted you can't even participate in your hobbies. You can't even like take care of your personal health. You can't even like enjoy the way that you look, and you don't even feel like hot, which I think is really important in life. Maybe it's my Aries Venus, but I'm like, if you don't feel hot, what's the point? You can't even like invest in yourself and like enjoy your physical body. It's this your work, your job, it's eating into your relationship and the people that you care about. I also love this as I'm talking, the hair is like growing and becoming like almost windblown. And it's like, be free, sweet summer child, And I know it's, and Spirit is agreeing with me, we both know that like it's not easy, but you deserve more and you're going to burn out if you stay where you're at. I'm also hearing that like you can make so much more and you can enjoy life so much more in a different situation. I think for some of you, it is going fully remote if possible. I know things are changing and different in this landscape. It's not as easy as it used to be to go fully remote, but a lot of you would benefit from traveling or moving to a different country. I'm even hearing getting a job abroad. Some of you really need to look into that, especially if you have a specific skill set. A lot of countries make the visa process a lot easier. I don't know about the US. I think that's kind of screwed. But other countries, not the US, make the process a lot easier if you have like a specific skill, like nursing, or you're an architect, or you're a doctor. So, or you like are just good at whatever specific job you do. So, some of you need to look into emigrating and becoming an immigrant. I refuse to use the term expat. That's the white word for people who are immigrants. We have white clouds. Like, remember when I was saying I was seeing dark clouds? We have these white clouds. Brighter days are coming, but they do require a shift from you. They do require a change in your habits. They do require you to demand more from the universe. It's also been a theme that's been coming across in a lot of my readings and with a lot of clients of like, y'all need to dream bigger. And I know a lot of the reason we don't is because we're like, we don't want to be disappointed. But at this point, what's the catch? Like, the world is innately disappointing, anyways. We also have a cow here. It's kind of a goofy little face, but you could do with some more silly goofy in your life. You could do with some more jokes and some more fun. Um, I'm not necessarily hearing spend more money because I know a lot of you, and included, are not doing well financially, but like having game nights, doing potlucks. If you don't have friends and you're like, well, Abigail, I don't have the energy to make friends, part of that's your job. Part of it's the topic of this reading. You need to like get out there and go. We also have a face here and it's pretty taciturn. Some of y'all need to tell your bosses off. Look at how sad this little this little flame is. I'm sorry, baby. You know, it sounds so one-dimensional, but what I'm really hearing from Spirit is like the burnout is not worth it. And you're going to burn out so hard that you're not going to be able to work, is what I'm hearing. Um, and those dreams that you have, those are valid. Those dreams are possible, I'm hearing. Now, they may not happen exactly as you want them, is what I'm hearing, but they're going to happen in such a way that you will be just as happy, if not more happy. So don't think that, like, just because it's not exactly how you want it, that it's not going to be wonderful. It's going to be more than what you were expecting. Let's see, what else do we have here? Get an angle on this. Oh, we also have two people here hugging. A better job is going to open up better and healthier relationships. If your relationship is currently struggling, a different job will help. And well, I'm actually hearing for some of you, you need to break up. I know this is not a relationship reading, but if your partner is not supportive of you following your dreams, then maybe you're not compatible, is what Spirit is saying, because you deserve to be seen and having your needs met, and that includes having a job that you want and you deserve. Also, this huge chunk of the candle just fell off. For some of you, your connections, your relationships, romantic or not, are really keeping you from, your desires and your dreams. I'm also hearing that some of you don't have supportive families who are like operating on like 90s and early 2000s economy. It's not the same. It's not the same. Also, we have a mermaid here. You are a unique, beautiful, magical, mystical creature. You don't play by those rules, anyways, and you never have. And there is a passion or a dream that you've had for either a long time or a short time that is forming that you deserve to be able to pursue and follow. And it's going to require a lot of faith and a lot of trust, but I'm hearing all you have to do is open that door. And for some of you, not all of you, but for some of you, you'll immediately get a job offer. You'll immediately get an opportunity. You'll immediately hear something that excites you. We also have a dragon forming here. You know, this is bigger than this lifetime. It is bigger than this moment. This lifetime, this whole cohort who is watching this, you were being asked to do what seems impossible. You were being asked to dream bigger, to color outside the lines, to think outside of the box, and also to recognize that like this is not the economy that you were probably trained for. It is not the world that you were told you were going to inherit, is what I'm hearing. And so you have to make the most of it. And that includes breaking a lot of the rules because the rules don't exist anymore. We also have this, what is this shape? Ooh, almost like a squid. Also, I think for some of you, I don't think this is for all of you. This is a small portion. I do think that you are very good at multitasking. And for some of you, I'm hearing there is a path where you can kind of work part-time in one job and then run your own business. And believe me, I know that sounds exhausting, but it's definitely a better option than what you're doing right now. And I'm hearing that over time, those two things are going to converge. So it's not always going to be separate. You're going to find a way to marry your dreams together to create one dream that's much easier to manage. All right, what else do we want to know? Do we have anything about timing? Do we have anything about specific messages that you want to come through? We have baby again. You know, treating your dreams as special and as deserving to be fed and cared for. This baby specifically has like a swaddling, like little swaddling sleep sack. They have these in Europe where keeps the baby from climbing out of the crib. You know, you have been protecting and caring for your dreams, but at some point the sleep sack has to come off. At some point you have to give those dreams legs, and it requires a lot of courage. And I think this is the time. That's what this reading is for, is to tell you it's time to start planning. And here's the deal. You don't have to like ditch your job today, be unemployed and, and start this new dream, but you need to start moving towards it, is what I'm hearing. You need to start manifesting it. You need to start, like I said, going to coffee shops, having planning sessions. For some of you, this is also making plans with someone else. It's also, for some of you, there's definitely this feeling of like you and a comrade coming together and making a plan, opening a shop together, or fulfilling some kind of dream. If you absolutely know who I'm talking about, you need to get a hold of them ASAP and start planning with them. Yeah, this candle flame is still so exhausted and sad. You know, it's a little better than it was at the beginning, and I think that's because we're having hope. If you the minute I started saying that, it's like, no, I'm a sad candle. You're burnt out, you're exhausted. You also have to take that into account. You are not running on grade A energy right now. You are absolutely running on bare minimum, and you need to rest whenever you can. I think you also need to maybe tell someone how much you're struggling, a friend, a partner, so that they can kind of encourage you or help you come up with some ideas. If you have a mentor in the field you're working in, it's not a bad idea to talk to them if you can trust them not to like spread your business around. But yeah, I also think it's interesting that we have this kind of like little lagoon in the middle here of the wax. It's almost like you have a special little oasis place right now that maybe you go to escape, and that's not bad, but What if your whole life was this oasis? What if you were able to have like actual stability and security? And I know it doesn't happen over time, and I know I'm talking at a time, especially in the US and the world, when the economy is garbage and it's not likely to recover. But this means we just have to come up with different solutions. We have to recognize that the system has never been reliable, but especially isn't anymore. There's also this kind of stream flowing through the wax. I think you've been having dreams, and I don't know that you're aware of it, about new jobs, about a new place. For some of you, it's moving to a different location, moving to a place that has a lot of the access to things that you like. So if you're an outdoorsy person and you live in a place without much access to the outdoors, Spirit is saying go move somewhere where you can be outside, move somewhere where you can actually engage in your hobbies when you do have time off. Um, you know, go somewhere where you're not constantly bombarded with sound and smells and overstimulated. Um, little flame is working so hard. Um, yeah, get out in nature. We have a kangaroo here, very tenacious. Also, some of you need to clap back at work. You are being pushed around and bullied by a boss. You need to start writing them up. If it's a client, you need to fire them. If it's someone who comes into your small business, you need to tell them their behavior is not acceptable here. A lot of you need to stand up and let what will be will be. We have this figure of a man here kneeling and kind of raising his hands in like a fighting position. Get off your knees. Get off your knees. Stand up. Stand up for yourself. You deserve to be valued and heard and cared for. And yeah, no more defensive behavior. No more playing defense. It's time to play offense. If someone has been harassing you at work, which I hear for some of you they have, you need to report them to HR and start writing everything down, get other witness statements. If some of you are afraid you're going to be terminated and you don't think it's lawful, then you guys need to talk to an employment lawyer ASAP. Um, yeah, if you're a small business owner, you need to start. If it's in the US, we have something called one person, two party consent laws. If you have a one party consent state, you need to start recording some of your conversations, especially if you have a difficult client or someone who comes into your shop and causes property damage. Is what I'm hearing. Because yeah, that's a big no. Um, but yeah, there's also a flame here. You have so much passion and desire that's being wasted. I also think for some of you, when you started this job or when you started this business or when you started off on your own, you were really bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and passionate. And now you're kind of burnt out and sad. And I think, the universe wants you to know that it's possible to heal. It is possible to get your spark back. For some of you, it is going back to 9 to 5 work, or at least a work that's more stable. And for some of you, it's the opposite. It really depends on what aligns most with how you're feeling in your situation. There's no right or wrong way to survive life, especially as someone who is a part of the working class. We have this like almost like a little Cupid. I don't know if you know those little Cupid dolls, and they're like snuggled up. Some of you just need to start taking naps. Um, I don't know how many businesses do this in China, but I saw a video about how certain businesses allow like 2 hour midday naps. While your company, or your own small business doesn't allow you to do that, you need a nap when you can. Some of you need to work on that sleep debt. Um, Also, I'm hearing that some of you do need to start some serious manifestation practices, candle magic, honey jars, money bowls, road opener spells, blockbuster spells. Some of y'all need to just put your energetic body behind some things because it feels like physically you may not have much left, and you're not. While energy work does take energy, it is, at least I don't find it as soul crushing as filling out application forms and resume forms. Um, so yeah, there's just overall feeling of exhaustion, burnout. Um, if you're not feeling quite to that edge, there's also just more that you can attain in your life. And this job is not everything, and you don't owe your life to this job. If it is no longer serving you, it is no longer serving you, is what Spirit is saying. feel like we're coming to the end, partially because this reading has been exhausting. It's so many people are struggling, and I'm with you on that. What happens if I tip this dude up? Does he get brighter? A little bit. Um, but yeah, he's not not the most. Sometimes my flames are huge, and he's like, no. Although interesting, if you notice, I gave him a little bit of a break, and then what happened? His flame got bigger. Some of you guys just need a break. We have this like starfished person here. Some of you guys need to stop doing so much. Take a break, relax, maybe take a month to rest and kind of recoup, regardless of your job. Back away from social engagements. Take a chill pill. Also feels like a lot of you haven't had like anytime you have a day off, it feels like some of you are like giving your time to other people, and that's really lovely. But I think some of you do need to fill your own cup a bit. You do need to take care of yourself. It feels like you maybe have been operating on guilt or shame instead of like hope. And so you've been putting yourself through a lot of physical effort to make up for that. And the answer is guilt and shame don't really matter unless you like use them to like do something different. And by doing something different, you're no longer participating in guilt and shame. And it feels like you're kind of stuck in the guilt and shame area. We also have this little ghostly figure here. Some of you would benefit from working with your ancestors, to be honest. They want more for you. They want abundance for you. They want money for you. They want you to be the wealthiest and healthiest version of yourself. And before someone comes at me, although it's not usually the tarot crew who does this, but certain political crews that I'm a part of do this, being like, you shouldn't want money. Money is bad. Money's not bad. The people who hoard it are. Like you deserve to have your needs met, and unfortunately, money is a part of that in the world we live in. So yeah, and I also think some of you think that you don't deserve it, or you're like other people don't have it. Yeah, but if you have it, you can give it to others. You can share. That's the beauty of autonomy and being a kind human being. Also, the shape has gotten really interesting. It reminds me of Buddha sitting on the lotus. For some of you, um, I think connecting to certain deities might be helpful. I also think meditating and taking time to really sit with your desires is going to be helpful in this journey with your career. Because if you don't, you are going to continue to be confused. Because if you remember how scattered the energy was at the beginning, and even now, this is so chaotic and all over the place. So take some time. And also, if you notice, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but the wax is kind of grainy. There's just an element of wear and tear here, and I really feel as though you all need to rest a little bit. You need to take some breaks. You need to spend more time with friends who don't stress you out. We also have a bird here. It reminds me of birds I've seen in Indigenous art. And so a lot of you need to get back in touch with the land. A lot of you need to kind of pull your perspective. So not sure why, but the camera cut off. I will discover the reason later. I wonder if I got a phone call. I do need to put my phone on airplane when I do these. Anyways, I was talking about how we need to pull our perspective back out of capitalism and out of this idea of labor being this hyper glorified, like all magical thing, and imagine a world where we are free. Imagine a world where we don't constantly focus on, and I understand these are systemic and not how most of us feel, but focus on like work as like the be all end all, because we've been taught that way and we've been geared that way so that they can extract labor out of us. But we need to engage in thinking beyond capitalism, thinking beyond a world where our neighbors starve, where children don't have breakfast, and things like that. What happened when I realized that it cut off is I was going to talk about timing. Is there a timing around when things are going to shift and change? And what I'm hearing is that it all shifts and changes when you start prioritizing yourself and your well being. When you stop running on the hamster wheel, when you stop pushing yourself too far. For small businesses, I'm hearing when you stop letting the algorithm run you, because a lot of small businesses operate off of in social media these days. Believe me, I understand. It's interesting here. We've had this bird kind of usurped by almost like a creature eating it. Don't let your exhaustion steal your joy. Don't, when you're working, work, and when you're not working, don't work. Put some clear boundaries between labor and not labor so you get true rest and true recuperation. Um, yeah, kind of coming back to like timing. Anything is possible. This is a timeless reading. I do think you're going to see changes by the end of the year or within 8 months if you really get serious about change. But it is very dependent on you taking things very seriously and moving things forward for yourself, um, is what I'm hearing. Like, unfortunately, um, good stuff is not just going to drop in your lap. It does make sense with how tired our flame has been this whole time and the tension I feel in my body. There's an element of you needing to set yourself free. We do have an H here, so keep an eye out for H and H words and things that have H involved in them. Um, it feels like there's some kind of sign in there. Um, what I'm hearing from your ancestors and from spirit is that you deserve peace and happiness, and how you're going to know something is the right path is that you are going to feel ease. You are going to feel security in moments where there's no reason for you to feel secure. Um, but yeah, I know it's tough out there, guys. I can feel the energy of exhaustion for a lot of you, but you guys have big dreams. You have big hopes, and those things are possible, is what I'm hearing. But you have to take those steps and you have to believe in the impossible first before you get to the possible. Um, Feeling like the candle is done, especially since Candle Boy be very exhausted. Now I have to figure out where to put him because he's got a rounded base. Pop you up there. Will you stay? We'll take a final look at the wax here. We'll douse it in water so that I don't burn my little fingies. But if you look, this is so chaotic. There's also multiple layers. It feels like there's like real time issues, there's past life issues, there's ancestral stuff going on with your work. Also feels like there's a little monster here. You're like being eaten by the labor that you do, which is not great. Um, there's an element of reclaiming the time. I do love this back though. It feels almost like a bouquet of flowers. I think there is celebration coming, but you have to say enough is enough. You have to reclaim your time. You have to refuse to let people bully you and use the current financial situation to manipulate you when it comes to your work. Um, you are capable of so much more than the system allows. And so you got to start breaking the rules in order to find the life that actually works for you. And for some of you, that's going to be breaking the rules and getting a raise. For some of you, it's going to be breaking the rules and leaving because you hate it. We also have a person here who like literally looks like they're climbing out of something. For a lot of you, it is leaving your current situation. It is pulling yourself out. It is moving on. It is moving forward and rejecting what you have been given. But I can tell you this, on the other side, you're going to find a lot more peace. I will say, don't do anything rashly, is what I'm hearing, but make solid plans and then take the leap when you have the next steps prepared, is what I'm hearing. All right, my dears, I wish you so much rest and I wish you so much success. I hope that this reading was helpful. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this. Comment below if you found that it resonated. I love to hear your stories. If there's any other topics you would like me to cover in these readings, please let me know. I will incorporate them. And I will talk to you all later. Blessings.